All right, so are you ready to dive in and unlock the secrets of sesame seeds?
Let's do it.
You're curious about those black and cream sesame seeds,
Yeah.
and you want to know which ones are like the nutritional superheroes, right?
Right.
We hear ya.
Absolutely.
So we've been digging deep into a Brazilian podcast episode and a scientific study,
Uh,
and they're all about these little tiny nutritional powerhouses.
yeah.
We're going to give you the key takeaways in plain English, even though the original research was all in Portuguese.
It's fascinating, really. The study analyzed both types of sesame seeds,
Yeah.
black and cream,
Hmm.
looking at their antioxidant power and their fiber content.
Okay, so not all sesame seeds are created equal, huh?
Exactly.
What'd they find?
Well, there were some pretty big differences, especially when it came to fiber.
Okay.
Black sesame seeds are packed with insoluble fiber.
Oh.
That's like a scrub brush for your gut, keeps everything moving, helps with digestion,
Okay.
keeps things regular.
Stop.
It's also been linked to keeping your blood sugar stable.
Interesting. So black sesame seeds for good digestion.
You got it.
Got it. What about those cream-colored ones?
Now, the cream sesame seeds had less of that insoluble fiber,
Mm-hmm.
but they were higher in soluble fiber.
Mm-hmm.
And soluble fiber is known for being really heart healthy.
Yeah.
Studies have shown that it can lower cholesterol, and it might even decrease the risk of heart disease.
So it's like they each have their own superpower.
Right.
Black sesame seeds for the gut
Yeah.
and cream for the heart.
Exactly.
I'm liking this already.
Yeah.
All right, what else did the study uncover?
Well, there's more. The researchers also looked at phenolic compounds,
Okay.
and this is where things get really interesting. Black sesame seeds had almost double the amount of phenolic compounds
Whoa.
compared to the cream ones.
Hold up. Phenolic what now?
Uh-huh.
Explain it like I'm 5.
All right, so think of phenolic compounds like little bodyguards for your cells.
Okay.
They're antioxidants. They neutralize free radicals.
Hmm.
Free radicals are like those little troublemakers. They
That's
can
wrong.
damage your cells,
Yeah.
and they lead to all sorts of health issues.
Gotcha. So more bodyguards are better.
Exactly. Phenolic compounds are linked to a lower risk of chronic diseases, things like cancer and heart disease.
Right.
And black sesame seeds bring a whole army of them.
Okay, I'm adding black sesame seeds to my shopping list, ASAP.
Uh-huh.
But hold on, you mentioned something earlier about a phytate puzzle.
Right.
Fill me in.
So the study looked at phytic acid content,
Okay.
and black sesame seeds came out on top again.
Hmm.
They had significantly higher levels than cream seeds.
Okay.
Now, phytates have kind of a reputation as the bad guys of nutrition.
Oh.
You might have heard them called anti-nutrients.
Anti-nutrients.
Yeah.
That sounds scary.
It's not that straightforward, really. Here's the puzzle.
Okay.
Phytates can bind to certain minerals in your gut, like iron, zinc, and calcium.
Hmm.
And this can make it a little bit harder for your body to absorb them.
Oh, so that's why they get a bad rap.
Exactly.
So is it bad to eat black sesame seeds because of the higher phytate content? Should I be worried?
That's where it gets nuanced.
Okay.
While phytates can affect mineral absorption,
Uh-huh.
they also seem to have their own benefits.
Okay.
Some research suggests they may have antioxidant properties,
Hmm.
and they could even play a role in reducing the risk of certain cancers and help manage blood sugar.
So they're not all bad.
It's not really a simple good versus bad situation.
Right.
It's more about understanding how they might affect you specifically.
Gotcha.
It depends on your overall diet,
Hmm.
your individual needs, and your health goals.
Right.
If you have any concerns about mineral absorption, it's always a good idea to chat with your doctor or a registered dietitian.
Good point. It's all about personalized nutrition these days.
Exactly. And remember, this is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
We're looking at the whole picture of sesame seed nutrition.
Okay, good reminder. So we've covered fiber, antioxidants, and even dived into the complex world of phytates. What else did this study uncover?
Well, they dug into something else crucial for our health, lipids.
Yeah.
But remember, when we talk about lipids, we're talking about more than just calories.
Right. Lipids get a bad rap sometimes, but they're essential for our bodies.
Absolutely. We need them for cell structure, hormone production, vitamin transport.
Uh-huh.
They protect our organs and help regulate our body temperature.
Wow. Lipids are like the unsung heroes of our bodies.
You really are.
So where do black and cream sesame seeds fit into all of this?
Both varieties are excellent sources of these essential lipids.
Oh,
They
yeah.
provide sustained energy and support those vital bodily functions we were just talking about.
Hmm.
And what's interesting is that both black and cream sesame seeds have a slightly different lipid profile.
Yeah.
They each contain a unique mix of different types of fatty acids.
Hold on, you're telling me there's even more to explore with these tiny seeds?
Well, before we get too carried away,
Okay, you mentioned a slightly different lipid profile. Spill the tea. What's the difference between the types of fat in black and cream sesame seeds?
well, both are good sources of fats, but in slightly different ratios. For example, black sesame seeds have a bit more of those omega-3 fatty acids. You know, the ones that everyone's always talking about.
Omega 3s, right? Those are the heart healthy fats known for fighting inflammation. They're usually found in fatty fish, right? Didn't realize sesame seeds had those too. So black sesame seeds are a good plant based source of omega 3s.
Exactly. And the cream sesame seeds, while they also contain some omega-3s, have a higher proportion of other beneficial fats, like oleic acid. It's the same type of healthy fat found in olive oil linked to good heart health.
Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. Black sesame seeds seem to be the winner for overall antioxidant power and for those looking for plant based omega 3s, while the cream sesame seeds seem like the go to for heart health with their higher soluble fiber and oleic acid content. Am I getting that right?
You're catching on quickly. Now, keep in mind that both types of sesame seeds are packed with nutrients. This study we're looking at also found that they're both excellent sources of essential minerals. We're talking calcium, magnesium, iron, and zinc, all those good things your body needs to function properly.
Wait, sesame seeds have minerals too. I'm learning so much. Okay, break it down for me. What do those minerals actually do for us?
Well, each one plays a different role. Calcium, for example, is famous for building strong bones, but it also helps with muscle function and nerve transmission.
Hmm.
Then you've got magnesium, which is like nature's chill pill, helps you regulate muscle function, keep blood sugar stable, and even promotes good sleep.
Magnesium. Sign me up. Okay, so black and cream sesame seeds both have all these minerals.
They do, but there are some subtle differences in their mineral profiles.
Hmm.
For example, black sesame seeds tend to be a little higher in iron, which is crucial for healthy red blood cells, and zinc, which is important for a strong immune system.
So if someone is looking for a plant-based iron boost, black sesame seeds might be a good choice.
Exactly. It's all about understanding the unique nutrient profile of each type of sesame seed and then choosing the one that best aligns with your individual needs and goals.
This is amazing. It's like they're nature's multivitamin.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just about one single nutrient. It's about the whole package.
Mhm.
The unique combination of fiber antioxidants, healthy fats, and minerals that work together to support overall health.
Okay, so I'm officially adding both black NED cream sesame seeds to my pantry. But I have a confession before this deep dive. I thought they were just, something you sprinkled on a hamburger bun, but now I'm seeing them in a whole new light. What are some creative ways to incorporate them into my diet?
There are endless possibilities. You can sprinkle them on salads, blend them into smoothies, stir them into yogurt, or even make your own sesame seed butter.
Ooh, sesame seed butter sounds delicious. Any other tips?
Don't forget about sesame oil. It has a rich, nutty flavor that adds a delicious depth to stir-fries, marinades, and even salad dressings. You can find both toasted and untoasted varieties. The toasted oil has a more intense flavor, while the untoasted is milder and great for all-purpose cooking.
Okay, I'm definitely adding sesame oil to my shopping list too. But before I get lost in recipe ideas, let's recap what we've learned. We've explored the unique nutritional profiles of both black and cream sesame seeds, from their fiber and antioxidant content to their healthy fats and essential minerals. We even tackled the phytate puzzle. And through it all, we've discovered that both black and cream sesame seeds are nutritional powerhouses.
Absolutely. And you know what's even more fascinating? Their history. Did you know that sesame seeds have been cultivated for over 5,000 years?
Wow, 5,000 years. Really? They've been around that long.
They have. They're believed to be one of the oldest oilseed crops in the world. Evidence suggests they were first domesticated in Africa and then spread to other parts of the world like India and Asia.
Wow, so they've had a long and rich history. I'm guessing they've played a pretty important role in different cultures and cuisines.
You bet. In ancient Egypt, for example, sesame seeds were prized not only as a food source, but also for their medicinal properties.
Interesting. What about in other parts of the world?
Well, in India, sesame seeds have long been revered for their nutritional and spiritual significance. They're often used in religious ceremonies and symbolize immortality.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I bet they're a staple in Indian cuisine, right?
They are. They add a wonderful nutty flavor and crunchy texture to so many Indian dishes.
I'm starting to understand why you're so fascinated by these little seeds. They're not just nutritious, they're also deeply rooted in history and culture.
Exactly. It's amazing how they've woven themselves into the tapestry of human civilization. Their story is a testament to their enduring value and their ability to transcend time and cultures.
This is so cool. I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of their history and cultural impact. But before we go down that rabbit hole, all right, so before we get totally lost in ancient Egypt and all that cool history stuff,
Uh-huh.
let's bring it back to the present. You know, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
Those nutritional superpowers of black and cream sesame seeds, they're fascinating history.
Yeah.
We even learned some creative ways to use them.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has.
And I think what's so remarkable is how these tiny seeds
Yeah.
that are often overlooked,
Right.
they hold such a wealth of benefits
Mhm.
for our health and the planet.
Speaking of the planet, you mentioned earlier that sesame plants are actually pretty tough.
They are. They're known for their resilience.
Oh,
They can
oh.
thrive in those harsh conditions, even in areas with limited water. This makes them a sustainable crop, which is super important as we face, climate change and food security these days.
So not only are sesame seeds delicious
Yeah.
and nutritious, they're eco-friendly too.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm officially a sesame seed convert.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
And I hope this deep dive has encouraged you to explore all the many ways you can enjoy them.
Yeah.
Remember, whether you choose black or cream sesame seeds,
Mm-hmm.
you're making a smart choice for your health.
Absolutely. I'm already thinking about all the different ways I can add them to my meals.
Oh, yeah.
Sesame seed crusted salmon,
Ooh.
sesame ginger stir fry,
Nice.
maybe even some homemade black sesame ice cream.
Oh, wow.
The possibilities are endless.
I love your enthusiasm.
Uh-huh.
And don't forget, even just a simple sprinkle of sesame seeds on top of a salad or
Yeah.
a bowl of rice can make a big difference.
Totally. Small changes, big impact.
Exactly.
All right, so before we officially wrap up, let's leave our listener with one final thought.
Okay.
What's the one thing you hope they take away from this deep dive?
I think the biggest takeaway is that sometimes the most powerful ingredients are the ones that we tend to overlook.
Yeah.
The humble sesame seed with its rich history and its incredible nutritional value.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example. So next time you encounter a sesame seed, take a moment to appreciate its journey from ancient fields to your plate.
Right?
And remember, it's packed with potential, ready to nourish your body and add a delicious touch to your meals.
Beautifully said. It's all about appreciating the little things, right?
It is.
And knowing that even something as small as a sesame seed
Right.
can make a difference.
Absolutely.
So go forth and embrace the power of sesame seeds.
Yeah.
Experiment, explore,
Have fun.
and discover the magic they can bring to your life.
I love it.
And hey, if you discover any amazing sesame seed recipes or uncover any fascinating sesame seed facts, we'd love to hear about it. Happy exploring.
Happy exploring, everyone.
All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking carbs and fiber. And we're going way deeper than the whole carbs are good or bad thing. I mean, you've given me all this research,
Yeah.
and I'm kind of surprised by how much more to carbs there is than just like energy.
Yeah, I think that's true. We kind of get caught up in the whole calories in, calories out, and we
Sure.
forget that they play a much more kind of intricate role in how we feel and our overall health.
For sure. Well, and speaking of energy, I was blown away when I saw that our brains use 20% of our body's energy, and it's mostly from carbs.
It's true, yeah. The brain basically runs on glucose,
Yeah.
and glucose comes from breaking down carbs.
So if I'm not getting enough carbs, is my brain basically just like running on fumes? Is that why I get all fuzzy-headed sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. If your brain is a high-performance car, glucose is like that high-octane fuel.
Okay.
It needs that to run smoothly.
Okay, so I need to get enough carbs. But I guess not all carbs are the same, right?
Right. So we've got simple carbs and complex carbs. Simple carbs are kind of like quick bursts of energy. Think sugary drinks, processed snacks, that kind of thing. They burn out pretty quick, though, like kindling wood. So those lead to the energy crashes.
Yeah.
And then you have complex carbs. Those are more like slow-burning logs.
Gotcha.
They provide sustained energy over a longer period.
Okay, so complex carbs are better for like consistent energy.
Exactly.
Where does fiber fit into all of this?
So fiber is actually a key component of those complex carbs. It's what slows down that digestion process, and it prevents those rapid spikes and dips in blood sugar,
Okay.
which can really leave you feeling drained.
So you're saying choosing complex carbs over simple carbs can help me avoid that like mid-afternoon slump.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fiber does so much more than just regulate energy, though.
Okay, like what?
Well, it's crucial for our digestive health. There are actually two types of fiber. soluble and insoluble fiber,
Okay.
and they each have their own unique benefits.
I always hear people say fiber is good for digestion, but I've never really understood like how. Can you kind of break that down?
Yeah, so soluble fiber is like a sponge,
Yeah.
you know. It absorbs water in your digestive tract,
Okay.
and it forms this gel-like substance.
Interesting.
And that gel slows down digestion, which can help regulate your blood sugar levels.
Uh-huh.
It can even lower LDL cholesterol. That's the bad cholesterol.
Wait, fiber can help with cholesterol.
It can, yeah, because that soluble fiber binds to cholesterol-containing bile acids in the gut, and it helps to actually eliminate them from the body.
Wow.
So it can actually have a pretty significant impact.
Huh. So soluble fiber is like that slow and steady thing.
Right.
What about insoluble fiber? What does that do?
Insoluble fiber doesn't dissolve in water. So instead, it adds bulk to waste. It's kind of like a broom, It squeaks through your intestines,
Uh-huh.
helps to prevent constipation, keep things moving.
So soluble fiber is like the sponge and insoluble fiber is the broom.
Exactly, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
So they're both crucial for gut health, I guess.
they are, yeah. And a healthy gut is about so much more than just digestion, too.
Okay.
It's tied to our overall health, like our immune system, even our mental well-being.
I've heard a lot about the gut microbiome recently.
Uh-huh.
How does fiber play into that?
Well, so soluble fiber acts as a prebiotic,
Okay.
and that means it provides nourishment for the good bacteria that live in our gut.
Uh-huh.
And those good bacteria, they play a vital role in a lot of things, like digesting food and producing essential nutrients.
Wow.
They even regulate our immune system.
So getting enough fiber isn't just about like avoiding constipation. It's
Well-
about like supporting this whole community of.
Yeah, it's an ecosystem
Yeah.
in our gut.
Exactly. And the more diverse that microbiome, the better equipped it is to do its job.
Right.
And fiber is a key to creating that diversity.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's pretty incredible to think that there's, a whole world going on in our gut.
Yeah.
And how much fiber plays into that.
It really is. Like, it's this whole ecosystem down there. We're really just starting to understand how complex it is.
So we're trying to move beyond this whole idea of carbs are good or bad. How should we be thinking about them?
I think we need to be focusing more on quality over quantity. So instead of just like counting grams of carbs or whatever,
Right.
we should be thinking about what types of carbs am I eating? Where do they come from? How do they make me feel? That kind of thing.
Right. It's about making choices that are good for us.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are some examples of smart carb choices? Like, what should we be eating?
Well, as we talked about, the complex carbs are really the best. So things like whole grains.
Think brown rice, quinoa, oats, whole wheat bread, all that good stuff. They're packed with fiber, which we know is, a game changer for digestion and energy
Yeah.
and cholesterol.
Right. What about fruits and vegetables?
Oh, absolutely. Fruits and veggies are nutritional powerhouses. They've got tons of vitamins and minerals
Mm-hmm.
and fiber,
Right.
and they're complex carbs too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what about things like beans?
Oh, yeah. Legumes are awesome, like beans, lentils. Those are often overlooked, but they're really great sources of both protein and fiber.
Yeah.
So that's like a win-win, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. So there's lots of good options out there. But, some people are going to be hearing this and they're going to be like, wait a minute, I've read this or that. That says carbs are bad.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There are some, I guess, schools of thought out there that advocate for very low-carb diets,
Right.
like keto, for example.
Mm-hmm.
They drastically reduce carbs. And, for some people, that may be beneficial.
Right. It's different for everyone.
But it's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to nutrition.
Right.
What works for one person might not work for another.
Right.
So it's really important to be critical of those extreme claims.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And focus on a balanced, sustainable approach.
Right. I think that's really good advice.
Yeah.
So someone is listening to this and they're like, okay, I'm ready to embrace the power of carbs. What advice do you have for them? Like, how do they get started?
Well, I would say start with gradual changes.
Yeah.
So if you're used to eating like a lot of processed foods and refined carbs,
Mm-hmm.
don't try to change everything all at once.
Right.
Just start making little swaps, like, trading white bread for whole wheat, white rice for brown rice, sugary cereals for oatmeal, that kind of thing.
Yeah, little things can make a big difference over time.
They really can, yeah. And don't be afraid to experiment.
Wow.
Try all those different whole grains, different kinds of fruits and vegetables, different ways to prepare legumes.
Mm.
You might be surprised by what you end up liking.
I think that's so important because it can be fun. It doesn't have to feel restrictive.
It should it should be enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's about nourishing our bodies with food that we enjoy eating.
Yeah.
And also pay attention to your body.
Yeah.
How do you feel after you eat different carbs?
Right.
Do you feel energized, satisfied, or do you feel kind of sluggish and bloated? Your body's going to tell you what works best for you.
Right. It's like we're becoming more aware of our bodies and what they're trying to tell us.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about really tuning into those signals.
Right. Awesome. So we've talked about choosing complex carbs, exploring all these different whole grains and fruits and vegetables and legumes, listening to our bodies. What else should we keep in mind?
Well, one thing that people often overlook is the timing of when they eat their carbs.
Okay.
And there's no hard and fast rule,
Yeah.
but a lot of people feel their best if they kind of front load their carbs.
What do you mean by that?
Like, eat more carbs earlier in the day and then taper off towards the evening.
Gotcha. So like having more carbs for breakfast and lunch.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of in sync with our natural energy cycles, right?
Yeah.
We need more fuel during the day, and then we kind of wind down as we get closer to bedtime.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just what we eat, it's when we eat.
Right. And again, it's all about finding what works best for you.
Right.
And remember, this isn't about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about making progress. If you have a slice of cake at a birthday party, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's birthday cake.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Well, we've covered so much today. It's amazing how much there is to learn about this stuff.
Yeah, it's fascinating. There's always more to learn.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. We started out thinking, carbs are the enemy, and now we're learning that they're actually pretty important for our health.
Yeah.
It is a pretty big shift, right? Like we've kind of unlocked a whole new understanding of how our bodies work.
This whole deep dive has definitely shown me that we need to stop with the simple good carb, bad carb thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's about those nuances, the different types of carbs and
Yeah.
the role of fiber and how all that stuff interacts with,
Right.
our individual bodies.
So we need to become smarter about what we're eating, right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's about
Yeah.
being informed and making choices based on,
Right.
knowledge and being aware rather than just like doing the latest fad diet.
Exactly. And not feeling like we have to restrict things
Right.
when we don't need to.
Exactly, yeah. Taking control of our health, making
Yeah.
decisions that
Yeah.
really help us feel our best.
I think one of the best things we can do is connect with our food on a deeper level.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, thinking about it as more than just fuel,
Mhm.
appreciating where it comes from, how it's grown, the journey it took to get to our plate, that kind of thing.
Oh, I like that. It's almost like having a sense of gratitude
Yeah,
for the food that we're eating.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think when you approach food with that kind of mindset, it can change your whole relationship with eating.
Yeah.
It becomes less about restrictions and more about appreciation and really enjoying it.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's about enjoying food and nourishing our bodies,
Uh-huh.
which I guess comes back to, what we were talking about earlier about listening to our bodies.
Right, exactly. It all comes full circle, doesn't it? It's about paying attention to
Yeah.
how different foods make us feel, like
Well-
physically and even emotionally,
Right.
Like, do I feel energized and happy after I eat this, or do I feel
Yeah.
kind of heavy and weighed down?
Yeah. Our bodies are telling us things all the time.
They are. We just got to, listen,
Yeah.
pay attention.
So that's powerful.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping up this deep dive on carbs and fiber. Uh-huh.
What's the one thing you want people to remember?
I would say embrace the complexity. Don't be afraid to learn more
Yeah.
about carbs and fiber. Try different things, experiment, and most importantly,
Yeah.
listen to your body.
That's great. It's time to move past oversimplifying things and embrace the nuances.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, and
Yeah.
we got to honor that.
Right. Well, I think that's a great place to end this episode.
Yeah.
But before we go, I want to leave everyone with a question to think about. Now that you know more about carbs and fiber,
Uh-huh.
what little change can you make today to add more of the right carbs and fiber to your diet?
That's a great question to think about. Remember, even small changes can have big results over time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into carbs and fiber.
You're welcome.
Until next time, keep learning and keep nourishing your body and mind.
All right, so get this, listeners, you asked for it. A deep dive on sesame seeds, and we're delivering.
That's right. And focusing on their anti-aging properties should be a fascinating one.
It really should. To start us off, where do we find our information for this deep dive?
We dug into some recent scientific studies on sesame seeds, looked at traditional uses in different cultures, and even looked into the sustainability of sesame seed production.
So a pretty well-rounded view then. I like it. It sounds like we're ready to jump right in. What are some of the key things that make these tiny seeds so special, especially when it comes to aging?
Well, they're packed with two groups of compounds that have some pretty amazing effects: phenolic compounds and phytates. You'll find those in a bunch of plant-based foods, but sesame seeds are particularly rich in them.
Okay, so nothing too exotic or hard to find. I'm guessing most of us have a jar of sesame seeds in the pantry somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah.
And yet, they contain these potent compounds most people don't even know about.
Right. Phenolic compounds and phytates, those sound pretty technical. Break it down for me. What exactly are they and how do they work their magic?
Sure. Imagine your body's cells are like constantly under attack from things like pollution, stress, just, I don't know, daily life, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, phenolic compounds are like a team of highly skilled bodyguards protecting those cells.
Mm-hmm.
They act as antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, you name it. They neutralize those threats and keep your cells healthy.
So, like a cellular defense squad working behind the scenes to keep things running smoothly. I'm already intrigued. But what about phytates? Those are a bit more a mystery to me.
Phytates are interesting. They've gotten a bit of a bad rap because they can bind to certain minerals, making them a little harder for your body to absorb.
Oh, I've heard about that. Isn't that why some people say things like beans and grains can be anti-nutrients?
That's the idea some people have, yeah. But here's the cool part. New research is showing that phytates also have a ton of benefits. They can act as antioxidants, too. And there's evidence they might even help with things like cancer prevention and blood sugar control.
So it's like they have this dual nature, both guardian and trickster, huh?
Exactly. It's all about balance, like most things in nutrition.
Okay, I'm definitely curious to learn more about that. But for now, let's focus on those phenolic compounds. You mentioned they have a range of actions. What are some of the specific ways they benefit us, especially in sesame seeds?
Sesame seeds boast a variety of phenolic compounds, each with its own kind of specialty. For instance, they contain gallic acid, often found in grapes and tea.
Ah, so that's where those come from.
Exactly. And gallic acid, it's a real powerhouse antioxidant, protecting your cells from damage.
Damage that can lead to chronic diseases, right?
Exactly.
So like a built-in shield against wear and tear. Pretty impressive.
Huh.
What else?
Well, there's ferulic acid, a lot in grains and bran. This one is especially good for your skin, protects it from UV rays.
Ah, that's probably why I see sesame oil in so many skincare products these days. Natural sun protection.
Exactly. And then you've got chlorogenic acid, which helps regulate blood sugar levels.
Okay, so that one's like a secret weapon for keeping my energy levels balanced.
You got it. And that's not even all the phenolic compounds sesame seeds contain. They're also flavonoids. They're like the all-star team in the phenolic compound world.
Okay, I'm ready for the all-stars. What can they do?
Let's see. You've got quercetin, fighting inflammation, hesperidin for a healthy heart, anthocyanins, those are good for your brain, and isoflavones for hormone balance.
Wow, so it's like they each have their own specific talent.
Precisely.
Wow, and is there anything else in sesame seeds besides those?
Can't forget about resveratrol.
Isn't that the compound people talk about with red wine and the French paradox? That the French have lower rates of heart disease even though they eat a lot of rich foods?
You got it. And resveratrol, they think that plays a key role in that.
Yeah.
It's good for your heart and might even help slow down aging.
Fascinating. I always wondered about that. So it's not just a buzzword. There's actually some science backing it up.
There is.
Cool. What else?
And then we have lignans, which are especially helpful for women's hormonal health.
So we've got the acids, the flavonoids, resveratrol, and lignans. That's a lot of phenolic power packed into these tiny seeds.
It really is. And remember, it's not just the individual compounds, but how they all work together that makes them so impactful.
Ah, so it's the synergy of all those compounds working together, like an orchestra maybe? Each instrument playing its part to create something beautiful?
I like that analogy. And speaking of things working together, you ready to tackle those phytates now?
Absolutely. Let's unravel that mystery.
So phytates, right. We know they can sometimes make it a bit harder for our bodies to absorb certain minerals.
Yeah, we talked about that, but I'm still kind of curious about how they can be beneficial, with that whole anti-nutrient thing.
Right. Well, it's kind of interesting, actually. There's been some recent research looking into phytates and bone health.
Oh, okay.
And it turns out They might actually help strengthen bones in the long run.
Wait, really? But I thought they make it harder to absorb calcium.
They can, initially, yeah. But there's this, like, paradoxical effect that's got researchers scratching their heads.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. How does that work?
Well, one theory is that while phytates bind to calcium, they might also, at the same time, prevent calcium loss from your bones.
So they're kind of like playing both sides.
In a way, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like they're helping to regulate the whole calcium situation, making sure it ends up where it needs to be.
That's fascinating. Are there any other ways they act as guardians, like you said?
Oh, absolutely. Remember those free radicals we talked about earlier? The ones that can damage our cells?
Yeah, the troublemakers.
Right. Well, phytates are like antioxidants too, helping to neutralize those guys. And there's even been some links to a reduced risk of certain cancers and better blood sugar control.
Wow, so they're like multitaskers fighting on multiple fronts.
Exactly. They're like those superheroes with a secret identity.
I like that. So they're protecting our cells, maybe even our bones, and what else?
Oh, don't forget their prebiotic effects. They provide food for the good bacteria in our gut.
Right, the microbiome. That's so important for everything these days.
It really is. And a healthy gut microbiome, that can mean a stronger immune system, better digestion, maybe even a longer lifespan.
So phytates, they're not just protecting us directly, but also supporting the good guys inside us.
Exactly. It's like they're building up our defenses from the inside out.
This is really making me rethink that whole anti-nutrient label.
It's a good reminder that things aren't always so black and white when it comes to nutrition.
Definitely. There's so much we still don't know.
And that's where traditional food prep methods come in. Like, remember how we talked about soaking or fermenting sesame seeds?
Yeah, you mentioned that can help reduce the mineral binding effects.
Right, well, those techniques, they're like unlocking the full potential of these seeds.
Okay, how so?
Well, soaking activates enzymes that break down those phytates, making the minerals easier to absorb.
So it's like giving the seeds a head start on digestion.
Exactly. And fermenting, that takes it a step further. The bacteria involved, they break down even more phytates and might even boost the nutritional content.
It's incredible how those traditional practices were on to something, even without all the fancy science we have today.
It really is. It's like they just knew.
Speaking of traditional practices, sesame seeds are used in so many different cuisines around the world.
Hmm.
Do you think those culinary traditions might have something to teach us about how to best use them?
I think there's a lot we can learn, for sure. Take tahini, for example.
The sesame seed paste?
Yeah, that's a staple in Middle Eastern and Mediterranean cuisine. And the grinding process, that actually helps break down cell walls, making the nutrients even more accessible.
So it's like another form of predigestion then.
Exactly. And then there's sesame oil, which is really popular in Asian cooking. That's a great source of those phenolic compounds and lignans we talked about.
It sounds like those culinary traditions, they're not just about flavor, but also about making the most of those nutritional benefits.
Exactly. It's like they figured out how to optimize both taste and health.
That's so cool. I love how food can be both delicious and good for you.
It's the best of both worlds.
Okay, so we've talked about all the good stuff in sesame seeds. But now I'm curious about something else. Sustainability. Is there anything we should be thinking about in terms of like the environmental impact of sesame seed production?
That's a really important question.
Hmm.
And, most sesame seeds, they're grown in developing countries.
So we need to make sure things are being done ethically and sustainably, right?
Absolutely. That means fair treatment for farmers and protecting the environment.
Definitely. Are there any organizations working on that?
Yeah, for sure. There's the Fair Trade Foundation, for example. They're doing great work to promote sustainable sesame seed production.
So if we see the fair trade label, that's a good sign.
Definitely. It means the farmers are committed to those ethical and sustainable practices we talked about.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the environmental impact, sesame plants are actually pretty drought tolerant.
That's good, right? Especially with water becoming such a precious resource.
It is. But, there are still potential concerns, like deforestation and loss of biodiversity, especially if sesame cultivation expands into new areas.
So it's important to know where our sesame seeds are coming from and how they're being grown.
Exactly. It's all about making informed choices.
This deep dive has been so eye-opening. I never realized how much there is to sesame seeds.
They really are fascinating, aren't they?
They are. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. But I think there's one big question we still need to address. That link between sesame seeds and longevity. What's the story there?
Okay, so we've learned a ton about sesame seeds. They're packed with good stuff, they're used all over the world, and they're even pretty sustainable if you know where to look.
But there was that one big question we still need to answer. You mentioned a link between sesame seeds and longevity.
Right. It's not like they're the fountain of youth or anything like
Well,
that.
of course not. But there's got to be something to those claims, right? What is it about them that makes people think they can help you live longer?
Well, it's really about healthy aging more than anything else. And sesame seeds, they have a lot of compounds that have been linked to that.
Okay, so what are these longevity-boosting compounds? Tell me everything.
A lot of it goes back to those antioxidants we talked about. Both the phenolic compounds and the phytates, they can help fight those free radicals.
Right, the ones that damage our cells and make us age faster.
Exactly. So by neutralizing them, those antioxidants are essentially slowing down the wear and tear on our bodies.
So it's like having a built-in defense system against aging.
That's a good way to put it.
Pretty cool. But is it just about preventing damage? Or can sesame seeds actually, like, reverse any of that aging?
Well, they do have some compounds that can support cellular repair and regeneration. Like, they're a good source of zinc, which is crucial for cell growth and division.
So they're not just protecting cells, they're actually helping them to renew themselves.
Right. And there are other compounds in sesame seeds that can help with collagen production. That's what keeps our skin elastic and young looking.
Ah, so that explains why sesame oil is so popular in skincare.
Makes sense, right?
It does. And what about those lignans we talked about earlier? Do they play a role in longevity too?
They could, yeah. Lignans can help balance hormones, which can become more important as we get older.
So it's like they're helping us age more gracefully, both inside and out.
Exactly. And don't forget about those prebiotic effects of phytates. A healthy gut is super important for overall health, and that includes healthy aging.
It's amazing how it all connects, isn't it? It's like sesame seeds are a tiny package of anti-aging superpowers.
I like the way you think. They're not a miracle cure, of course, but they definitely have a lot to offer.
That's for sure. Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about sesame seeds, from their nutritional benefits to their cultural significance to their role in sustainable agriculture, and even their potential to help us age gracefully.
It's been a pretty comprehensive deep dive.
It has, and I gotta say, I'm really impressed with these little seeds. I know I'll be looking at them in a whole new light from now on.
I think that's the best takeaway from any deep dive, really, to come away with a fresh perspective and a new appreciation for the things we might take for granted.
Absolutely. Well said. And to our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this sesame seed adventure. We hope you learned something new, maybe got inspired to try some new recipes. Most importantly, that you'll keep those deep dive requests coming. Until next time, stay curious. Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we are talking all about something that you probably have in your pantry right now.
Sesame seeds.
Oh yeah, those little things.
Yeah, but we're going to learn today that those little things are actually pretty complex.
They are.
So we're going to be looking at a really cool Portuguese source today.
Awesome.
It's got a ton of info on sesame seeds.
Okay.
And we'll be comparing the two most common types you see at the store.
Okay.
Cream-colored and black sesame seeds.
Makes sense.
Both super nutritious, but with some kind of surprising differences.
Yeah. And one of the biggest is something called phytates.
Phytates.
Phytates, yeah.
That's a new one for me.
Yeah, they're these compounds that are naturally found in a bunch of plant-based foods,
Wow.
like seeds, nuts, and grains.
Okay.
They're actually really important for the plants themselves,
Uh-huh.
but when it comes to humans, their role is a bit more complicated.
I see.
Yeah, so our source here says that both black and cream sesame seeds have these phytates,
Right.
but the levels are different. Okay, so that's one of the big differences then.
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind
Okay.
as we go through everything else.
So how do these phytates actually affect us?
Well, they can actually bind to certain minerals, like
Mm.
iron and zinc,
Interesting.
which can make it tougher for our bodies to absorb them.
So does that mean that black sesame seeds are worse for you then?
Not really, no.
Okay.
It's true that they have more phytates
Right.
and might reduce mineral absorption a little,
Okay.
but they have some other big advantages.
Oh, okay.
In fact, this source highlights how they could be really good for your heart.
So they might not be the best for getting minerals,
Right,
but good for your heart in other ways.
exactly. It's all because phytates act as really powerful antioxidants.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about those. They're good, right?
They are. They help protect your body from damage
Uh-huh.
by neutralizing these harmful molecules called free radicals,
Okay.
which can damage our cells and even lead to some serious diseases, things like cancer and heart disease.
Oh, wow.
So even though black sesame seeds could make it a little harder to absorb some minerals,
Right.
Their antioxidants could actually help protect you.
So it sounds like it's all about balance.
Exactly, finding what works for you.
Okay.
And cream sesame seeds have their own strengths, too.
Okay, what are those?
Well, they might not have as many antioxidants,
Mm-hmm.
but because they have less phytates,
Right.
they're a great source of minerals that your body can use easily.
So if someone's worried about getting enough iron,
Mm-hmm.
they should choose cream sesame seeds.
That's a great point,
Mm.
especially if you're on a plant-based diet,
Yep.
where mineral absorption can be an issue anyway.
Gotcha.
Cream sesame seeds are a great choice.
So it really depends on what you're looking for then.
Absolutely, there's no one best choice.
That makes sense.
It's all about your own needs and goals.
This is super interesting. I didn't realize there was so much to learn about sesame seeds.
Right, there's so much more to them than meets the eye.
And we are not done yet. We'll be back after the break to learn how to eat them.
All right, so we're back and ready to talk about eating these sesame seeds.
Yeah, let's get practical.
Our source actually has this awesome sample diet plan
Oh, cool.
that shows us how to eat sesame seeds all week long
A whole week.
for every meal.
Okay, let's hear it.
So what's Monday looking like?
Well, Monday morning, we're starting off pretty simple. Yogurt topped with toasted sesame seeds and fresh fruit.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It is.
Easy, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and for lunch?
How about a quinoa salad with tahini dressing?
Yum. I love tahini.
It's so good.
And super versatile, too.
It is. It really is.
What about for dinner Monday night?
Grilled fish with a sesame seed crust.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
It's easier than you think,
And healthy, too.
right?
Yeah.
Lots of good fats in those sesame seeds.
Okay, I like it. So that's Monday covered.
Mm-hmm.
What about Tuesday?
Tuesday morning, we're having a banana and spinach smoothie
Okay.
with a spoonful of sesame seeds blended in. You can put them right in the smoothie.
Yeah, just adds a little nutty flavor.
Okay. I'll have to try that.
And then for lunch,
Yeah,
we're going with a chicken wrap
all right.
with sesame seeds, avocado, and some fresh veggies.
That's light, but still filling.
Exactly. Good for a busy day.
What about dinner?
How does chicken stir fry sound?
Classic.
With a sprinkle of sesame seeds on top, of course.
Oh, of course. Okay, that's Tuesday taken care of.
On to Wednesday.
All right, hit me with Wednesday's menu.
Wednesday, we're starting the day with homemade cereal bars with nuts and seeds and dried fruit
That sounds healthy.
and yummy.
And sesame seeds in there, too.
You know it.
All right, what about lunch?
A nice chickpea salad.
I love chickpea salad.
So good for you.
Yeah.
This one has sesame seeds, red onion, bell pepper, and cilantro.
That sounds really fresh.
It is
Okay, and Wednesday night's dinner?
tofu with sesame sauce and some sautéed vegetables.
Ooh, that's making me hungry. I love tofu with sesame sauce.
It's a classic for a reason.
So we're halfway through the week.
Almost there.
Okay, what's on the menu for Thursday?
Thursday, we're having whole wheat pancakes,
Pancakes.
but with a twist.
Oh, what's the twist?
We're adding a swirl of sesame paste.
Into the batter.
Yep. And topping them with fresh fruit.
That's a great idea.
I know, right?
Okay.
For lunch, Thursday,
Yeah,
just a simple bowl of brown rice with veggies
sounds good.
and a sprinkle of sesame seeds, of course.
Of course.
And then for dinner,
Thursday's dinner, let's hear it.
we are having sesame seed kibbeh.
Kibbeh. That's new.
It is. It's a Middle Eastern dish.
What's in it?
It's usually made with ground meat or lentils and bulgur wheat.
Okay.
But this recipe adds sesame seeds.
I've never heard of that, but it sounds interesting.
It's really good.
All right, we're almost to the weekend.
I know. Can you believe it?
Okay, Friday. What do we have?
Friday morning, we're keeping it simple with toast and avocado.
I could eat that every day.
Me too.
Oh,
Don't forget the sprinkle of sesame seeds, though.
always. What about lunch?
How about a tuna wrap
Perfect.
with sesame seeds, lettuce, and tomato?
Easy and delicious, my favorite combo.
And then for the grand finale, Friday night's dinner is
I'm ready.
whole wheat pizza with sesame seeds, spinach, and ricotta cheese.
Sesame seeds on pizza. I never would have thought of that.
It's so good.
Wow, this diet plan is full of surprises.
It is.
I'm definitely inspired to use sesame seeds in new ways now.
And don't forget about snacks.
Oh, right. Snack.
You can have a handful of nuts and sesame seeds, or make some homemade crackers.
I love homemade crackers.
You can even just sprinkle them on your yogurt.
I am loving all these ideas.
See, there are endless possibilities.
It's amazing how many different ways you can eat sesame seeds.
I know, it really makes you appreciate them more.
This has been such a fun deep dive, but I think there's even more to talk about. We're back and ready for the final part of our deep dive, all about sesame seeds.
That's right. We're going to wrap things up.
But before we do,
Yeah.
there are a couple more things I want to touch on. So we talked about soaking and fermenting sesame seeds.
Mm,
Can we talk a bit more about that?
sure, yeah, those are two really interesting ways to prepare them.
Yeah, but I gotta be honest.
What's that?
Soaking and fermenting sounds a little complicated.
Yeah, I hear it can seem that way.
Why do we even need to do that?
Well, it all goes back to those phytates.
Ah, those things again.
Yep, remember they combine to minerals.
Right, and make them harder to absorb.
Exactly.
Okay, so soaking and fermenting helps with that.
It does, it helps to break down those phytates.
So you get more of the good stuff.
Basically, you're unlocking even more nutrition.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It is.
But like I said, it sounds kind of time-consuming.
Yeah, it can be.
Is there anything else we can do?
You bet there is.
Yeah.
Something as simple as toasting them can make a difference.
Really?
Oh yeah, toasting does a couple things.
Like what?
First off, it brings out more of that nutty flavor.
I love toasted sesame seeds.
Me too. And it also makes them easier to digest.
So a little toasting goes a long way.
It really does.
Hey, so we've got soaking, fermenting, and toasting.
Mm-hmm.
Any other tips?
Well, our Portuguese source says to try out different forms of sesame seeds too.
Okay, like what do you mean?
You can eat them whole,
Uh-huh.
or grind them into a powder,
Oh, okay.
or use tahini, which is sesame seed paste.
Right, right.
Each one has its own unique texture and flavor.
So you can really mix things up in the kitchen.
Exactly. Get creative.
Okay, I like that.
Good.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
our source mentions how important sesame seeds have been throughout history and in different cultures.
Oh, yeah. They pop up everywhere.
It's true.
And it just goes to show you that food is more than just something we eat.
Right, it's like connected to our history and who we are.
Exactly. It's a reflection of our shared human experience.
I love that.
Me too.
So as we say goodbye to sesame seeds, for now,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway?
The big takeaway is that sesame seeds are just awesome.
I agree.
Both black and cream,
Mm-hmm.
they're super versatile and nutritious.
Yep, full of antioxidants, good fats,
I
protein.
name it.
And we learn that there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to choosing between them.
Nope. It's all about what you like and what works best for you.
Exactly.
And that's really what this whole deep dive has been about.
What do you mean?
It's about giving you the information you need to make good choices for yourself.
I see what you mean.
So go out there, experiment with different kinds of sesame seeds, try different ways of preparing them,
Yep.
and most importantly, have fun with it.
That's great advice. Well, I think that's it for our sesame seed journey.
It's been a blast.
It really has.
Eh.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.